Good afternoon. Let's talk about eduroam for a little while longer. It's such a great topic. This time specifically about eduroam managed IDP and what it takes to be a good eduroam identity provider. Now, an eduroam identity provider, setting this up is actually quite a complex and challenging task. And if there are any eduroam IDP personnel here in this room, you probably recognize pretty much all of the acronyms that are coming in here, and you can probably tell a war story about every single one of those. And that's actually great. It's the way it's supposed to be. If you are a really large organization with thousands or maybe tens of thousands of end users, we basically expect you to have a good grasp on your infrastructure. So if your user has a problem, you can diagnose the problem on your infrastructure. So you should know all about it. So that's how things worked for more than 10 years in eduroam now. There is, however, a however. So there might be the point where you say, sorry, but I'm not up to this challenge. Even though the thousands of big universities and organizations have actually completed the setup of getting their users on board with their own radio server and so on, maybe you are not in this comfortable position. Maybe your organization doesn't have the resources to run server infrastructure. Maybe you don't have the in-house knowledge, and you don't have the money to buy external knowledge. Or maybe you're just a small organization and you have too few users for this to warrant the effort. So for a very long time, what we said was, well, then maybe eduroam is not for you and not for your users. But we have changed. So these days, we've got something for you, and that is eduroam managed IDP. So in essence, we have put eduroam infrastructure into a browser window. You don't need to know anything about any of the protocols involved. You can create users and manage them right from your browser. So the system as such is hosted on somebody else's computer, but I'm supposed to say cloud to that. So we actually host this. It does all the technical bits that an eduroam IDP needs. We manage the systems, we manage the radio servers, we manage the web front end and so on, and we is the eduroam operations team. We keep the system secure, and we also keep it high available with 2 geographically distributed data centers and all the things you would expect from a production-grade service. And the only interface you have as an institution administrator is your browser window, and the only interface your end users have is a different browser window. So nobody has to touch any internals here. So I'm showing you just a series of screenshots right now. If you wonder, so how complex is it really? What do I still have to do? Once you are signed up into the system and you're authorized to use it, at some point you just create new end users by giving them a username and an expiry date when the service should stop for them. You can also upload a CSV file, and you just type that in your browser window and you're done. Once a user exists, you can send vouchers to the users. The voucher is the permission to create an eduroam credential on a device. You can say the user is allowed to put this on 10 devices or 5 or maybe just 1, and then the voucher is good for that amount of activations. We give you the opportunity to send this out either via our system, or you can get the mail in your local mail client. You can send an SMS to the person, or you can display a QR code and the person has to scan it. So we try to be as convenient as possible for you. Then finally, if the users have actually activated their accounts, maybe they're naughty over time, so you actually want to revoke access for them. Once a user exists and has activated a device, you see which device that was. You see when the account was created and when it's going to expire. And then you have this big red button saying revoke if you really don't want the person to be a user anymore. Now, if you wonder how complex is this for the end users, well, it's just a simple URL. So they either get this URL by an email, or they get this QR code that they are supposed to scan, or they get this SMS that we are sending them, and all they have to do is click on this, and they're taken to one single page. This page is their only interaction with the system, and it looks like this. Well, maybe like this. So here is this one page. It only has one single big button, and that is click here to download your installer. We are making the process as easy as possible. And once they have done that, eduroam starts to work. That's all. So if you think this sounds good, if you're an institution administrator, just talk to your national roaming operator, because they have to sign you up into the system. You get an invitation token, and that's it. If you are the national roaming operator, go to the same URL and start sending out those invitations. Now, famous last words. We are doing this live in the demo break right now, so walk down 2 stairs and I can show you all of this live. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stefan, and thank you to all